All of us get to take credit for a true moment of genius in our youth. And that's the moment that all of our experiences congealed into one organized, coherent response via the nervous system. We call that moment the original native skin. We talk a lot about the somatic skins on this channel. They're critical in terms of our orientation to somatic performance, self-awareness, and mind and emotional control. But what's incredible is that these have their origins very early in life, often either through trauma or just through a bit of pressure and repeated response. But the native skin came about through one moment of organization, right? So it was a moment significant enough to take all the information, all the experiences, the thoughts, the emotions that you'd been working with for years, and turning them into one organized response as tension for the warrior, focus for the sage, adaptation, maybe you learn to avoid the pressure as the shapeshifter, and then to sense, feel as the asset. These are powerful responses that wind up taking all of you into that one moment and then giving you a brilliant solution. Now, what happens after that is interesting. It's one of two things. Either those responses were so powerful and reliable, they served their purpose and they were a useful way of dealing with a situation or a moment of pressure, that you repeated them again and again, and then they wind up becoming conditioned, and we call that the conditioned skin. The other option is that you started to realize that that dominant response wound up having unexpected liabilities or risk for you. The most obvious version of this is when the asset, the version of you that senses and feels deeply, realized you can't really do that without maybe exposing yourself to risk and harm. And so you wind up compensating with either more focus of the sage, narrowing your field of vision, or more tension in terms of the warrior. Both of these can numb the sensations and allow you to bypass that response. And so there's an interesting dynamic at play, which is the skin that you currently inhabit first the original or best version of yourself, the one that you learn to rely on as a young child, solving problems in the body before the mind was ready? Or are you living a life of compensation, hiding from your true skin because you're afraid to feel too much, or some other version of those four? These are great points of reflection, I think. And then once you take the quiz in the description below, you'll learn your orientation. And it's either going to be something that you recognize as yourself, something you've repeated and lived into for many, many years, or you're going to recognize that maybe this is me, but maybe not the version of myself that I feel deeply. And then maybe it's a compensation. The answer around either one of these will come out in what we call the evolved skin. I'll make another video for the evolved skin, but effectively it's a process of conditioning and developing capacity in your skin. Then moving on to conscious awareness of how you're showing up in the moment, and then finally consciously inhabiting that skin with intention, or floating between all four. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below. Maybe I can dip in and answer those, but also start with the quiz, learn your skin. And we do coach this stuff at the Prestige, our Applied Somatics Academy. Very cool stuff. Yeah, imagine that. Simple framework that affects everything and can impact every aspect of life. Very cool. See you in the next one.